what you made me. Look what you made me. Look what you made me. Look what you made me do.
What would happen if somebody dropped sugar in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be okay. I said, what if somebody dropped strychnine in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. I said, what if my worst enemy drops in the sugar? They said, will you be okay? I said, what if my best friend, even by accident, drops in the strychnine? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. See, it doesn't matter who hands you the bad stuff. Every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. How important. You decide what goes into your mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want to in your mental factory, because you've got to live with the result.
What's good people? Thought-provoking podcast. Hey man, before we get started, I'd like you guys to click that like, share, and subscribe. HBO special, help a brother out. Hey, we're talking about receiving negative energy. It all falls in the place of the environment. The video that I shot last week, I guess this is a continuation of that, because I had a lot to say and I kind of went off script. But let's get started, man. Let me back up a little bit, man. Thank you guys for that 1 or 2 like. Thank you guys for that 1 or 2 comment. Once again, go ahead and subscribe. Don't cost a thing. Go ahead, click that like, to get the rhythms going. Get the rhythms going. It is the rhythm of the night. Let me stop, man. Hey, receiving negative energy, whether from people, places, or even internal thoughts, can negatively impact well-being. It can manifest as stress, anxiety, and even mood disorders. Protecting yourself from negative energy and building positivity involves setting boundaries, practicing mindfulness, and cultivating supportive environments. Those are the things we're going to be talking about today in this receiving this negative energy. Don't know the title yet, but I'm just going to, for right now, say receiving negative energy. It does a lot to your body, man. There's a lot to your mind. There's a lot for your environment as well. A lot of people really don't catch it. There's a lot of negative things going on today. And it's been going on for years, but it seems to be progressing as people's minds go into different places because they allow outside entities to affect who they are as a person. As time has grown, I think the forgiveness in people has kind of dwindled a little bit. They don't sit back and say, well, the logical. Everything's in the mix of how an individual feels. You can't. I'm never going to take that off the table on how a person feels, but what's logical about what's happening? Is this something that could have been prevented, or is something like just one of those things? Things like that just happen, regardless on what it is. Emotional and mental toll. Constant exposure to negativity can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and a higher risk of mood disorders like depression. The things that happen to you. Listen, the situations, regardless on what it is, leaving a job, going back to school, parenting your child, having a spouse, all those things, those factors, whatever that's negative in that can lead to depression, especially if it's not going good. If it wasn't going good from the jump and you're a pretty emotional individual, things are going to get pretty bad for you as far as like your mental status, because you want things to go a particular type of way, like I'm sitting back telling you, but I'm gonna get into the methods of positivity here later on. But all these things can affect your mood, but you have to catch it. You have to, just like I just sat back and said, there's possibilities of things not going the way that I think they should go. You have to catch those things, like influence on thoughts and actions. Negative energy can suddenly influence your thoughts. and actions, leading you to mirror other emotions or fall into patterns of negativity. Nothing's never good. You know what I mean? It's like I'm sitting here talking, nothing, not a thing is never good. Hey, I said it before. It's something true about I can't do it and I can't do it, or it's never going to happen, or it's going to happen. They're both true. I don't know if you sit back and you believe it or not, but they're both true. You sit back and tell yourself that something's not going to take place, or things are not going to never ever be in a particular type of place to be the way that you want it to be. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And you know what? If you're not working towards that thing, that situation being the way you want it to be, it's definitely never going to happen. So I guess you're true on that aspect. But if you're working at it and you telling yourself it's never going to happen, you're failing yourself. You're leading yourself into a big bowl of depression. I'm telling you, if you're working at something and you're doing something and you're telling yourself something is never going to happen, and every time something negative happen in that situation, let's say you're raising your kids a certain type of way, and like you have all good moments for, let's say 4 or 5 days out of the week, and that one moment, it just drowns everything. You sit back and say, you're a horrible child. Just listen, no, that kid is in the mix of his growth. So are you inputting something in his head and telling him mentally that he ain't I'm telling you, it falls into play. Well, instead of coming back to yourself, telling yourself, this was something that happened. I can't get in my emotions and talk to this individual bad. This is something that happened. I can't let my thoughts mirror my emotions to tell my child that he's not this because of this happened this one time. He's in the mix of his growth. She's in the mix of her growth, Or, my significant is not me, so I can't expect that individual to think like I think. That is a male or a female. We think totally different. We set the influence, especially the things we watch. That rolls over to your household. That rolls over to your thoughts, your habits. Listen to me. Energy draining. I'm sitting back telling you, dealing with negative energy can be mentally, physically draining, leaving your feelings exhausted and depleted. Man, that's a big one. You got an individual calling your house 24/7 every time something takes place in their life. Amen. But they never have anything positive about what they say. Or I think that, I believe the draining part is them not taking accountability of their situation. I think that's the major part of that. People not taking accountability, and they're complaining about the other individual not really bringing out themselves. They just want somebody on their team to sit back and say, was I right? Was I right? Bro, sis, a lot of the times you're not right. If you gonna vent, that's one thing. If you gonna call somebody to point the finger, that's another. That's draining for that other person. It is. To also think a particular type of way about certain things is draining for you. That sets the mood for depression. I set the mood for depression. I'm telling you. Excuse me. I'm telling you. There's no cuts on here. I don't go back and edit. But I'm telling you the truth. Negative thoughts deplete your energy, which causes depression. It puts you in a place to where you don't want to do a thing. But I'm gonna tell you like some steps in order. It's about 4 or 5 steps I got in order to kind of fix that. To kind of block it off. Set boundaries. Linda, I'm going somewhere. Check me out. Establish clear boundaries with people who are constantly negative or draining. This may involve limiting contact, changing the subject, or simply saying, no, put the stop sign up. Put the stop sign up. At times you just got to sit back and just limit the contact with that individual. That this is true sense. That don't mean that you have to take the individual out of your life, because if that person has been a part of your life for a certain amount of time, that person is pretty much a part of you. If they're relatives or friends. Sometimes friends are your relatives. They're more your relatives than your actual family, to be perfectly honest with you. But limit your contact. Change the subject. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Just getting off subject. A person might be. It depends on where that other person is. And if like they going through divorce or they thinking about suicide, you have to be there for them. Or if you in that I have to, don't say that. They'll get me for that. They'll get me for that one. Well, if an individual has certain thoughts, let's go back and have a conversation with them about those things, or call somebody to reach out to them. You can call the police and check in on them if they having those thoughts. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong for that. Mindfulness and self-care. Practice mindfulness techniques like meditation, pray, to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Incorporate activities you enjoy and that bring you joy. Hey man, one big thing, a big thing for me is physical fitness. That's a huge mental therapy for me. But sometimes, talking to people, it really doesn't get me anywhere a lot of the times. Going to the gym is my meditation. Meditation is sitting still in a quiet room, talking to. But activities with no training partner, hit me out, and just going through my motions, trying to get me through what I need to get through. Say about an hour and a half workout. After a certain age, it's hard putting yourself in places where you don't want to be. A lot of times the gym room is somewhere I do not want to be. So I put myself there, and it's therapy. I have certain thoughts in my head that I go through. And by me pushing myself through my workout, because guess what? At the end of the day, ain't nobody gonna get me through my workout but me. I don't have nobody pushing me but me. Telling myself what I can do, what I can achieve. Telling myself that I'm not gonna quit. That does a lot. I'm gonna stay dedicated to what I do. But meditation, sit in the room by yourself with nobody around. Get inside your head without judgment. And just go through your thoughts. Go through what's right for you. Go through the habits that you need to go through in order to change that thing. Talk to God. A big, huge step. He might give you an answer. Sometimes, it feels like he's not listening. Sometimes it feels like that. I promise you, but he will give you an answer. Through something or somebody, or even from yourself. You'll just act out what you're asking. To be perfectly honest with you, create a positive environment, surrounding yourself with positive people, places, and things. This can involve decluttering your home, engaging in hobbies, or spending time in nature. Oh man, that nature thing is a big thing. Most of the time, when I'm shooting my reels, I'm outside walking. I love walking. It's another way of clearing your mind. Just taking in natural environment, getting in some clean air outside of just being at your job, listening to people, even being in the gym, just watching a whole lot. It's just you and nature and the birds singing and chirping. It's the outside music, not the cars, the outside music. Just catch what I say, man. Creating a hobby like knitting, it doesn't, like I just said, the gym. All these things can involve some type of positive change in your life, especially if you're getting rid of negative thoughts. If you're getting rid of negative thoughts, you have to challenge those thoughts, recognize and challenge negative thoughts, thought patterns, Replace them with positive affirmation and focus on positive aspects of life. That's big. Listen to me. That is big. If you telling yourself that something can't happen, replace that thought like it's gonna happen. Now this is not an overnight fix. Trust me. This takes time. This takes time to get yourself away from people to say what's not happening is always talking about those like externals. This takes time. You have to put yourself in places to where people is like, man, we good. Even though this is going on, we good. We good. Who cares about that? It's happening. What we gonna do to get through it? Let's talk about that. It ain't, oh my God. You know what I'm saying, man. And a big thing of that challenging negative thoughts, people, places, things is forgiveness. I think the forgiveness part is big, and letting go. Letting go is another thing too. You know what? It was what it was. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm gonna sit in that place, huh? Release grudges and negative feelings. That's holding them can perpetuate negative energy. It can just make it stronger. It can make it stronger. Holding on to negative energy is like putting gasoline on fire. I don't know if that makes sense. It just gets bigger and bigger. The more you sit and fester on negative energy, you just pouring gasoline on fire, and it gets stronger as the days go by, and you build up a particular type of hate in your mind and your body towards whatever that's causing you to feel the way that you feel. Regardless of what it is, it could be a job, it can be your children, it can be a spouse. That's the closest thing to you, and a lot of times that's what a lot of frustration goes into. Especially when you're having a problem and you feel like you're not being heard, a lot of that fire goes towards your spouse. They're the closest things to you where you can sit back and point a finger and say, it ain't me, it's that. Accountability is like I just said, man. Just let go. You have to know that all things you go through has the possibilities of being good or bad. Can we agree on that? Can we agree? I think, the thing of being upset is or depressed or being negative about something, this thing's never going an individual's way. Hey, you talking to an individual that I've had like 1 billion doors closed in my face. Life, to be perfectly honest with you, a huge part of life has never been on the up for me. But I'm always positive about those situations that happen. So you know what? It is what it is. I've had worse. I've handled worse. I've been through worse. That's experience. I'm telling you, it doesn't happen overnight though. I'm telling you that. If you made it to this far into the video, I thank you. That means you're willing to go through a little bit of growth with me, because we, like I always say, we here to grow together. We here to do this thing together. You know what I mean? I got a quote and I'm going to close out. Shirley MacLaine. Be above the negativity of others. Refuse to allow their negative to affect you. Dwelling on the negative simply contributes to its power. Amen. You already know what I say. There's no big eyes or little U's, and there's power in everything we do. Until the next episode, let's work.